All right, y'all, let's get into it. OTB Spreads Prediction Show coming to you live on April 18th. NBA playoffs, that's all we're covering. We're going to look at a couple player props from Blowout Alert. The link to Blowout Alert is descriptions. It is in the descriptions tab. Go ahead and check it out, all right? Blowout Alert, leading data and analytics in the industry. Go check it out. It is in the descriptions tab, Blowout Alert. And if you want my premium plays, use code EDGE. Save 30% today on my premium packages, bronze, silver, gold, and elite. Tiered sequence. You're going to get a dosage of soccer. You'll get a dosage of MLB, NHL, NBA playoffs on all packages. If you want all those sports, just get the elite or the gold. All right? Let's dive into it, guys. Let's get to it. All right, first up, we're going to dive into the Cleveland Cavaliers matchup here. What I like about this Cleveland Cavaliers matchup is really nothing. And here we go. This is why. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been one of the worst teams against the spread all year, and today they're laying 8 points against the Raptors. We've got a mediocre Raptors team here, right? And this Raptors team, they haven't really done anything against the great teams. They beat up on the teams they should. They lose to the teams that are going to test them here in the playoffs. Got the Cavaliers at home. They've looked a lot better, a lot sharper against the spread since James Harden has come on board. You can look here at the record up top, 27-14 at home. They're not a bad road team either. Neither are the Raptors, 22-19, respectable, just a touch over 500. But guys, this is the playoffs. You get to play a little bit more physical. I don't think Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett are the most physical players, but I think guys like Jacoby Walter, Pottle, guys like that, Jamal Sheed, I'm not even going to try and say Sandro's name, but man, these guys step up here today. Murray Boyles, I think we see a team that's pretty deep here in the Raptors be able to hang with a team that's benched, doesn't always show up. I think that it's going to come down to the jump shots. Is Mitchell and James's jump shots falling? Now, if you look at the data tells us that Donovan Mitchell and some of these guys haven't had the best matchups against this Raptors team. We can see here there's really a lot of fades on Donovan Mitchell today. Now, if we go ahead and click on Donovan Mitchell here and look at his matchup history with the Raptors, I think he only had one truly great game this year. Come on, load up. My internet may be a little slow today. I got my kids with me today, and those boys always sucking up the Wi-Fi with the Roblox, man. There we go. It's loading up now. All right. Matchup. Look, 17 points. He did hang a 30 bomb on him. That's the one I was thinking of. But they've kept him under his line. His line's normally always around 26, 27. And they've kept him under that number. They've done a pretty good job at keeping off the perimeter. He has rebounded the ball decent in a couple games. Last matchup here, only one rebound. But once again, guys, these were in early part of 2025. This was on the other half of the year last time they played him. This was without James Harden. Look, I'm not going to recommend you go here and lay 8 with the Cavaliers, a team that struggled to cover the spread. They were one of the worst teams in the league covering the spread. If you would have taken them over the course of the season like we did with the Hornets, you would have lost money. Hornets were a printing machine. The Cavaliers, they were not. Cavaliers lost you money over the course of the season against the spread. Charlotte Hornets cashed you. Suns cashed you. And man, we got our ass whooped on the Hornets last night. I'll own it. You know, we had a bad read on them. I think with the Warriors, same thing. We all knew that the defense from the Suns could show up. They just didn't show up the last couple games. And we had to think, okay, maybe this team does step up. The veterans, they just didn't look like they looked their age last night, honestly. They looked their age. That was the difference. And this Suns team is still really young. You had players that just showed up, like Jordan Goodwin. All those guys last night really showed up. Royce O'Neal. A lot of the role players for the Suns stepped up. Dylan Brooks looked great defensively and offensively. Devin Booker's just not there. And watch out, if Devin Booker can get going in this Thunder series coming up tomorrow, maybe they can hang within that 13.5 number. We'll see. That's going to be up for debate. But that Thunder team, I don't want to go against them. I think they're going to roll tomorrow. I think that 13.5 is completely alive for the Thunder. But guys, my take here is the Toronto Raptors +8. I want those points in my pocket against a really bad team here. against the spread. They could still cover because James Harden has been a big factor. Let's see if there's any value here on Harden. They also have a lot of fades on Harden. You might want to look at his threes. He's been shooting the three pretty well. Maybe 3 threes today for Harden. Over here on Ingram, got a lot of fades on Ingram as well. Barrett's probably going to have a little bit of value. No, let me dive in here. I think we can find some value on Barrett, maybe on the points and rebounds. Depends on what his line shakes out to be on FanDuel. I haven't dove into the FanDuel lines so much yet, but a lot of the times they're right around this number. If you can catch his points and rebounds around 24.5, I like it. I think he can go over. Now, if they have that up around 26.5, I'd fade it. Barnes, let's look at Barnes. Any value here on Barnes? They're saying his assist. He is pretty good at assisting the ball. He's pretty damn good about assisting the ball. 60% of the time over the last 10. His line's normally around 6.5. He's been under that number a couple times. But I'd look at Scotty Barnes maybe on the points and assist side. I know it's telling us to take a little fade here because over the last 25, he's only hit it 9 times. He's hit this 12 out of the last 25. Last 10, 60% rate. If you can get this line between 5 to 6.5, I really like it at 5.5. If they have it at 5.5, go ahead and take it. That's something to keep an eye on. Take a look at Jacoby Walter here. I was talking about him earlier. He's got a ton of value and edge here. They're saying rebounds and assists, right? Let's take a look at that. Guys, Bet365 is what I've found to be the best for NBA playoffs currently. Reason being is they don't withhold the lines. They don't withhold the value in the edges. FanDuel will not give you the points and assists for him. What they'll give you is the rebounds and points or something like that. And they always withhold the one with the lower lines. Like Kalkbrenner last night, his rebounds were 3.5. I felt like that was a pretty good line. Long story short, guys, let's get into it and try and find a line we really like. Let's go here to the suspects. This automatically gives us some lines. Max Strus, 12.5 PRA. He might be good for 2 to 3 threes. I kind of like that, man. He rebounds the ball pretty well, and he shoots the ball pretty well coming off the bench. I think 12.5 PRA is alive. It should be available over on Bet365. I would give that a look. Scotty Barnes on the under of PRA, 31.5. Let's take a look at it, man. I don't know if Scotty Barnes has a big game. I think the max he's going to get is 20. It all boils down to assists and rebounds for Scotty Barnes here today. I think he finishes with a line around 6 assists and maybe 6 rebounds, maybe 8. Let's say he gets 8 and 6 and 18, right? That would put him at 30, right around that 31.5 number. I really don't hate the under here on Scotty Barnes on the 31.5 PRA. I think I do like this one here, points and assists for our boy Sandro. Sandro's got a good look here. He's normally always around that 10-point mark. That's pretty low for him. If you can grab that at a 9.5 on points and assists, he might be able to cover that for you just on the points alone. So there we go, right out of the suspects. We always want to dive in here and see if there's any value plays here. You know, jump in, be like, okay, who's got value, blah, blah, blah. Grady Dick hasn't been getting minutes like that, so I wouldn't go anywhere near Grady Dick. He was getting way more minutes last year. Let's look at Murray Boyles. I'm sure there's going to be some value here. Yeah, I think the points might be an edge for him here today. Now, if we look at what he's done the last couple games, 2, 17, 6, 12. He's been all over the place, but if you can get his line somewhere around 8.5, 9, 10, I don't hate it for Boyles. But yeah, I think the most values here is Sandro is what I see, and it's being recommended as well. The points and assists at 9.5, and then the PRA over here for Max Strus. That's 2 spots I would tell you guys to go look for on Bet365. All right, +8 Toronto Raptors, man. Keep it moving into the Timberwolves, Nuggets. A lot of bad blood here, guys. A lot of bad blood. Reason being is that this team was kind of built to beat the Nuggets. They went out, they got Gobert. This is a couple years back when Nuggets were winning championships. They've had some really good playoff games. Anthony Edwards, if you look here, he is a game time decision. He's questionable. He's got that knee issue still bothering him. They got everybody healthy over here on this side. Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, Christian Braun, Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway. They got a deep little bench here. Deeper, in my opinion, than what you get off of this side over here. It's going to really come down to how well Randall, Gobert, and McDaniels can play today, especially with Anthony Edwards in and out of the lineup the last few weeks. I think the cohesion might not be there. Last time the Wolves went into Denver, they beat up on the Nuggets. They are playing at elevation here in Denver. I think the handicap for me is more of like a -8 to a -9 on the Nuggets. I think this line is a little short, and that's what it was with the Suns yesterday, right? I think Vegas reacted. They laid the right line with the Warriors. I think the line was that Vegas laid was an emotional line, and it's kind of an emotional line here as well, where you feel like this Timberwolves team is talented enough to stay within the number, but they're also not good enough to stay within this number. So it goes both ways here. I think that if it was like +8 here for the Wolves, it's a much easier number to take than a 6.5. If you get a flat 6, maybe even a 5.5, grab that all day. I would even recommend alt line 5.5, maybe around if you can find it for -130, -140. Still a nice come up, 75, 60% come up there. Yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. Nuggets -6.5, but I really like the alt line. Get it below a 6 because I think they can edge them out by 2 possessions here in Denver, maybe even blow them out. But my take here is that if it is going to stay close, it's a 2-possession ball game down the stretch. They pull away in the last couple minutes. But if it's not going to be close, Denver's going to win it handedly. That's where I'm at. It might be my favorite play on the board today. But let's see what we got here, man. If there's anything that jumps off the page with value and edge. Julius Randle hasn't impressed me this year. I wasn't even going to look that way today. Jaden McDaniels, blocks. There's some value there. Yeah. Maybe take him for 1 or 2 blocks here today. He's going to play with some defensive intensity. He always rebounds the ball well, but he hasn't been hitting his numbers like he used to. So I would stay away from that one. PRA, he's about 50-50. You could give the PRA a look. They're going to need him to score the ball a little bit. I think Dasamunu is going to be an X factor here. His line might have a little bit. He doesn't. 1.5 is his average line on the threes. They're going to need somebody to shoot those threes that Anthony Edwards shoots, but I believe Anthony Edwards is a go today. Gobert, any value here on Gobert? Steals, I'll fade that. DiVincenzo, it's giving us a lot of fades today on some of these boys. See what Jamal Murray's got. If there's anything hanging out. Doesn't always, so we got all these recommendations over here under the suspects, but I like to dive in here as well and just see if there's any edges and value plays. Like Christian Braun's got some edge and value play here on the rebounds. His line is normally around 4.5, 5.5. If you can get it 4.5, I really like it. 5.5 is borderline questionable, but Braun's always rebounded the ball well. He's good for 4 to 6, so I don't hate that. Aaron Gordon, where are we at with him? A lot of fades. He's been inconsistent all year. How about our boy Jokic? Big machine, man. Rebounds, assists. It always feels like such a big number, but he covers it so often, 17 to 25. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and look at the value play on Jokic. I'm going to write this down here because I think I am going to go with that on one of my plays. Rebounds plus assists, Jokic. And then I think I'm going to also look flat out on rebounds as well. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to go with Jokic. And then we'll keep it moving, man. Those are a couple. Let's take a look over here at the suspects. Braun, PRA, 17.5. That's another good play there. Braun, PRA, 17.5. His normal line is typically around 18.5, 19.5. There's some value there. As you can see, his average line is 20.5. The lean is on the over. I think that's a pretty darn good line for Braun. It is the playoffs, so things will tighten up. A lot of times the averages come down. How about Naz Reid? We got anything off the bench over here with Naz Reid? Nope, nothing with Reid. We're going to keep it moving. Tim Hardaway, I normally like him for a couple threes. 12 for 25. I would give it a look, guys. I'd give 3 threes a look with Tim Hardaway. At least 2. At least 2 if you want to throw it in your parlay. PRA with him. I don't know about that. Right around 50%. Maybe his points. They're going to need him to shoot the ball. I think Hardaway's good for 10. Anything in DFS that jumps out at us. These lines here are more parlay plays. Obviously, because Jamal Murray for 18 to 20 points, that's going to be a lower line. That's only going to be probably -650, -550 if I had to guess. Jokic on the PRA. I mean, his PRA is going to be alive, I think, today. He's going to eat Gobert up. DiVincenzo for 10. I think that's a spot to look as well. But yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. I think my favorite play out of this one would be Jokic rebounds and assists, or rebounds flat out. I think Jokic gets you anywhere between 12 to 14 rebounds. At 13.5, I don't love. If you can get him at like an 11.5 on rebounds, give me that all day. Jokic has rebounded. He had a 16 rebound game, and I want to say a 20 rebound game last year against them. So I would take a look at that. And we can dive in and actually look and see how he's performed on the matchup side of things against this team. Now, look, there's that 16 rebound game I said. And then last year, already had a 6. There it is right there on the 24th of March, another 16, a 19 as well in October. He's shown that he can rebound the ball well against this team. So I like Jokic for rebounds. I also like him for his rebounds and assists. So that's going to be a favorite play of mine out of this one, guys. All right. Nuggets -6.5, lay the points. All right, guys. Moving into this game here with the Hawks. This, to me, a team that's been phenomenal at home, 30-10. You got a team that's just over 500 in the Hawks. I get it. The Hawks have been solid. They've looked great. I'm not going to fade the Knicks here in Madison Square Garden. They've got a fully healthy squad for the first time in a while. Look at that. No injuries on the report. Here's my boy, Jamet, Miles McBride, Mikal Bridges, some really solid role players. Look to Miles McBride to have a nice little game today. I bet if he can get some minutes here, he will play well. They got a lot of fades on him. But look, let's dive in, guys. He got 24 minutes last time when he played Charlotte. 21 points, 4 threes. The guy can shoot the ball. I like him for 3 threes today. Give Miles McBride a look. I know that the data is telling us to fade him. That's just because there's not been enough data collected because he missed so many games over the last couple months. But I do like Miles McBride today to get 20 minutes and get some threes up. Definitely should get you 10 points. I think he could even stretch it out to 15, guys. There's going to be value on Miles McBride today. All right. Jalen Brunson. Don't let Brunson figure you out, guys. Brunson, I like him for steals. I like him for assists. He's been assisting the piss out of the ball. And the big thing for this Knicks team is they can't get caught in ISO. All right. They don't want to get caught in ISO. Now let's just go through here. Shamet for a PRA of 8.5. Yeah, give me that all day if you guys can find that on the book. I'm sure they're not going to give it to you. But if you find a book with Shamet for 8.5, take it all day on the PRA. OG, they're going to need OG to step up, man. You have this game here, but they pulled him early. But when he's getting minutes in those 30s, this is a very active number and very alive. So, but he can be inconsistent at times. So just tread lightly on that one. That's why the meter's there on the yellow. It's not a surefire lock. Mitchell Robinson's been playing great ball as of late. His rebounds has been what's really carrying that PRA at 14.5. I think that's going to be the X factor today against the Hawks is the rebounding with Towns and Mitchell. All right. But for me, my favorite look here, I think, is going to be this Miles McBride play. Look for him to get 10 points and 3 threes. That's going to be a safe bet for you guys out of this game. I really think that the 3 threes are very much alive. Let's see what Josh Hart's got cooking on his, if there's any edge in value. 3-pointers made is because Hart does not shoot the ball. If he's got a line at 1, it's alive. But I would stay away from it because Hart's just not a good shooter of the basketball. All right. We're going to move off of this game. But once again, download Blowout Alert. The link is in the description. You can upgrade to Elite here and get all the same information where you can click on the $, look at the hit rate. You can click on the player name. You can jump in here and look at the matchup. Always recommend using this on laptop or PC. We do have it available on the cell phone, but the interface it's still got some kinks that we want to work out and make it a little bit smoother on the cell phone. You just get a much better experience on the actual computer if you can swing it. Obviously, all this information is still available, like the first basket scorer here. Evan Mobley, Jabari Smith, Mikal Bridges, all these guys have had looks within the first 3 minutes. I think if you wanted to take a first basket score today, yeah, give Evan Mobley a look out of the Cavs game, and maybe give I'm not going to go Mikal Bridges here. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns. I bet he's on the second page. LeBron. Yeah, I like that. Give me LeBron and Evan Mobley for a first basket today, or first team scores. All right. I'm going to take the Knicks, lay the 5.5 at Madison Square Garden. Home record, 30-10. I get it, 5.5. Feels like it's a lot for the Hawks. But when I know they came in here and beat them last time, I don't see that happening today. They're going to be ready. They're healthy. Give me the Knicks. All right. Last game of the night, guys. is a matchup everybody's been asking me about on live all week. And I finally made up my mind what side I wanted to go. Once I dove in and started looking at everything and all the numbers, it's not going to be Houston by 5. It's going to be the Lakers. +5, it's still a really good team. Let's talk about it a little bit. They match up well with each other. Şengün and Ayton, both soft players. They don't like contact. This isn't Jalen Duran they're playing against. You know what I mean? This isn't Anthony Carter and Banchero who like to get down low and lower and get physical. These are finesse players in Şengün and Ayton. They play right into each other's game. I think both of these guys are going to have opportunities to score the basketball around the rim. They're going to be able to rebound the ball the way they want. I think that they kind of cancel each other out. Now we look at Marcus Smart, who's a great defender. He kind of matches up really well with Amen Thompson, right? So I'm not saying he's a scoring threat like Amen. Amen's a much better scoring threat. I think Amen edges out Marcus Smart, but still a really good defender. Reed Sheppard is going to be the best shooter on the floor today. You know, you could argue Luke Kennard, but I still think Reed Sheppard's a way better shooter, way better scorer of the ball than Shamar or Kennard could give. So there's an edge there as well. Kevin Durant, great player, but LeBron James at 1 years old, still fantastic. Going to be the best player on the floor tonight. I would recommend just looking at LeBron's assists today. He's going to need to assist the ball. They're probably going to have him around an 8.5. It does seem like a high line, but he's going to need to have that type of game. And if I'm a believer in it, LeBron James comes out here today and does something great and reminds us, just like Steph Curry did that first game in the play-in, that LeBron James is a household name for a reason. And he's been the face of the NBA for the last, feels like 3 decades now. But guy's going to come out tonight and play. And that's why I want the +5 in my pocket at Staples Center, where they're 28-13. And the Rockets have been a bad 22-19 on the road, where they've struggled with their offense. If they struggle at all today, it's going to be because these role players step up. Look, the more talent in the role players is around here with the Rockets. But I believe that LeBron James and a couple of these matchups like Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton are kind of a wash. So I believe if we can just get some washes in the matchups personally, where there's no true advantage inside or out, and it really comes down to Amen Thompson being the clear advantage, I don't trust Amen Thompson's jumpers. Amen Thompson is a guy who gets to the rim. I don't know if his offense and getting to the rim is going to be that easy for him today against this Lakers team. If Reeves and Luka were playing, I think this is an easy call. But I do think that Jackson Hayes is athletic enough and DeAndre Ayton is still big enough to protect the paint more against a fairly bad shooting team. Jabari Smith and Reed Sheppard are going to be the 2 X factors. Let's see where they shake out today, where their value is. And I do think that Jabari Smith has value today, guys. I would say take a look at his points and assists. Take a look at his points and his rebounds, okay? Jabari Smith definitely has value here today. DeAndre Ayton should have some value as well. Not recommending him, but I think that DeAndre Ayton is going to have to play a good game for what I believe is going to happen to shake out. Give me the +5 on the Lakers. I'm going to ride with the Lakers, not because I got the jersey behind me. It's because I truly believe at home with an inefficient Rockets offense where they can match up fairly well. There's no true matchup advantages, maybe other than Smith and a little bit of Thompson. Reed Sheppard, if he starts stroking the 3, but the Lakers have been fairly well at defending the perimeter this year. Give me the Lakers +5. If you want to outline this, the +7.5, go for it all day long. All right, that's it. That's where I'm at, guys. Blowout alert. I went with the Raptors +8. I went with the Nuggets -6.5, 6, wherever you can find that line. I went with the Knicks -5.5, and then the Lakers +5, guys. Or you can alt line up to +7.5 on maybe like a 2-leg. If you wanted to alt line the Raptors upwards, and you wanted to alt line the Lakers upwards, you could do something like that, guys, and do a little 2-leg on those 2 teams. That's where I'm at, man. All right, signing off. Blowout alert. If you want my premium plays, the link is in the description. You can use the code HOMERUN or EDGE. Either of those are going to save you money today. And then lastly, download Blowout Alert, get the same free access. You're going to be able to see at least one player prop out of each game recommended from DFS and props. You're going to still be able to look at a lot of these stats here and click and have some interface. Now, if you really want everything, look at quarter scores, look at the streak board, all of these different aspects that we have to offer, you're going to want to download and get Elite. All right. once again today, guys, I like Evan Mobley for first basket along with LeBron James. All right, that's it. Signing off. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's have a fucking day and let's make some money. And you already know what I'm about to say. Let's book the one way. Okay. Drop a comment, drop a like, make sure to follow and subscribe. I'm active on Instagram, active on Twitter, active on Threads, active on TikTok. Every major social media platform, you can catch OTB Mac on the ball spreads. Let's have a banging Saturday and make some money. Let's cash, guys. Cash, cash, cash. MLB goes off right around the same time as NBA. Let's get it. NHL playoffs as well. All right.